Imagine that we have come so far in terms of representation of gore and violence that when Nani cuts someone in half with a sword only for the blood to splatter and stick on the roof and for the hero to shrug it off by drowning whiskey and numbing himself by pouring all the alcohol on his wounds, you exclaim, "Hmm, not bad." Hit is a Telugu franchise that is organically growing at its pace, primarily having a huge fan base in its original language, causing its own ripples on a pan Indian level. We saw Vishwak Sen in the first installment, a film that actually made me a fan of the actor. The creative choices of Sen should honestly be studied because that trajectory is borderline sad to witness. Then you have Advi Sesh in the second case in Vishakhapatnam, and in the climax of the second film, you were introduced to Arjun Sarkar, played by Nani. The climax portion of the second film gave us a glimpse of what to expect from this police officer. A man who does not believe in following protocol and someone who hates due process and would rather kill and teach someone a lesson. With Hit, the franchise becoming increasingly more popular and successful, the scale at which Hit is presented is much larger than the previous installments. Here we have Arjun traveling on a pan-Indian level from being stationed in Jammu and Kashmir. The case and the development of events leads him to travel to Vishakhapatnam, Bihar and Rajasthan. Without giving anything away, Arjun realizes that there are a series of murders taking place with a particular twisted pattern. Arjun, with his unconventional ways, something that is to the annoyance of his superiors, gets to the bottom of the case. Of course, this time with the gore and violence that is not meant for the faint-hearted. But I must confess to all of you that if Marco was 100, then Hit 3 is at a 70. Trust me, if you saw Marco and did not flinch, this is cakewalk for you. Getting right into it, here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of Hit 3 so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch the movie in theaters or not. Swagger and an actor's commitment. There are two reasons why I will consistently say that Nani is my favorite actor from Telugu cinema. One is the faith that he puts on young directors, backing them not only as talent but even as a producer. Something that we saw with Court only this year. But also the versatility that he seeks for as an artist. If I just see the ventures since 2023, even commercial projects like Dasara and Saripoda Sanivaram are so diverse in what his characters demanded. And you've got an exceptionally heartfelt tale like Hi Nana in the middle too. With Hit 3, Nani has such an interesting character to explore in the form of Arjun Sarkar. This is a man who does not mince his words. He does not care about hurting someone's sentiments. He is a man of action, a man seeking for solutions, and anyone who curtails his process or wastes his time is met with the iconic "Oi!" Nani looks the part and absolutely surrenders to the madness of Arjun. There are points where you see him absolutely lose himself in the violence with his iconic baseball bat or police baton. Nani thrashes a villain's hand in an investigation, almost going in a trance-like state, seeing just red in front of him. This nonchalant yet precise attitude of the actor as he smokes his cigar never comes across as forced or gimmicky. He fully embodies this role, and this is precisely the commitment you require from your leading man, especially when portraying such a violent and honestly borderline deranged fellow on screen. Bumps in the screenplay. The film does take its time to fully get to the nitty-gritties of the case, and with its running time of 2 hours and 30 minutes or so, especially in the first half, you notice that the creators really spent time on understanding the familial background and roadblocks Arjun is facing in his personal life. This is where Srinidhi Shetty is introduced as Mridula, and honestly, the romance in the film made me have conflicting feelings because they often act like speed bumps to the story. You see the case at hand gain some steam, and then you have a break where Nani and Srinidhi are going on a date together. While the chemistry is not awkward at all and both the actors have a natural ease with which they interact with each other, the sequence ends and is revisited abruptly in the latter half. The problem is the sporadic nature in which the romantic equation seems to enter our lives as viewers. Each time as the case is finally developing and Arjun is reaching a possible solution. It's tough to care for this union because such little time is truly spent between the characters and why they fell in love for each other in the first place. Arjun complains about getting older, Srinidhi communicates that she loves his greys. There is an attempt to understand why Arjun behaves the way he does with the opposite sex regarding his upbringing, but it's not really explored on a deeper level. making the romantic equation honestly a distraction for me versus something that brought some great new perspective about the tale. The one thing that I do love is that Srinidhi is not playing a random flower pot role and is a woman of agency and of professional capability that has importance. This is a welcome change, honestly, from what she was doing in KGF, mostly being bullied by Rocky Bhai. Production design and world building. I absolutely love that the makers left no stone unturned regarding the budget and scale at which this film is presented. Many films featuring stars that are announced with these massive budgets make you as a viewer look at the frame and wonder that the math is really not mathing because the sets tend to look like green screen galore. But here we have Arjun traveling across various states and it looks impeccable. I could not help but marvel at the efforts of the technical team. The cinematography of Sanju John Varghese, especially in the portions of Jammu and Kashmir, stand out as Arjun tries to manage the sensitive area irritated with his high-handed methods. I absolutely love how Arjun drives different cars dependent on the terrain and the state which he is in. My man was driving a Rubicon in Andhra Pradesh, a Helix in Jammu and Kashmir, a Gurkha in Rajasthan, and a Pajero in Bihar. Arjun was literally assembling all the SUV beasts in this film. What I also love from a production design standpoint is what Sri Nagendra Tangala created as the brainchild of the twisted antagonist. The less I say the better, but I love the set the makers have created in order to transport us to a deranged and twisted world. You cannot fault Hit 3 from a production standpoint at all. Shaky Cam and Frustration. Now imagine me as a viewer and especially someone who is an admirer of Nani when he sees the promotional material of Hit 3. What is he going to expect? I'm going to expect the makers to go all guns blazing from an action point of view. You give me blood, you acknowledge that it is meant for a mature audience with its A rating, then I expect you to go and test the waters of what is acceptable. Fight with fire and give me gore and violence. This is true for many of the sequences that especially come when Nani dons the white suit and is essentially in the den of the antagonist. However, I found it frustrating to sit through some of the action choreography, especially in the first half, and the set pieces because it is inundated with shaky cam, and this is a technique that many people have complained about, even in international films, often described as the bane of action movies. Incomprehensible cuts after even the slightest movement by characters, leading to this hodgepodge of a sequence of events that disorients you versus engages you. Through many of the action set pieces that includes Arjun in a butcher shop in Jammu and Kashmir or him fighting someone in a hand-to-hand battle in a dense forest, the editing pattern is frustrating to sit through, only reaching its peak, as I previously said, when Nani dons the white suit. Only if the makers understood the memo they incorporate in the latter half of the film throughout the movie would have got unanimous praise from me. Speaking of which, brutality and pre-climax sequence. This is where the film gets comfortable in its own skin. This is where the brutality reaches a point where the violence is justified. This is where Nani fully surrenders to long shots of choreography. And this is where I exclaim to the screen, why couldn't we keep the same energy throughout the screenplay of the film? When Nani is tested in a ring, you get a taste of the madness that will follow. But nothing beats a series of events that has Nani leading a pack through the corridors. That is so exciting to watch that I was cheering with each blow and point of impact. Another reason for my slight frustration with the movie is that it has brilliant action choreography in this portion of the film, but it never really peaks because of a rather mid BGM provided by Mickey J. Meyer. You see the effort in its full glory, but wish that it could have peaked to become absolute perfection. Mixed reception of motive and antagonist. This is an aspect of the film that I actually found the most frustrating, and as this is a spoiler-free review, I can't really dive deep on the motive of the villain, but I must tell you that the actor portraying the villain is not even the slightest bit intimidating. The actor is constantly hamming in this movie and is so easily swayed and so easily manipulated that I did not even think he was a worthy opponent for someone like Arjun Sarkar. The villain speaks such utter surface level nonsense as his motive that it seemed like a rebellious teenager who thinks he's hard, versus actually scaring you at the prospect that this is a reality. I remember speaking to you a few weeks ago on what makes a worthy villain, either someone who is so deranged that you can't reason with, or someone who has nothing to lose. And this villain just does not fit either of the categories because the performance itself is so weak, making Hit 3 a worthy and fun ride at the movies only because of Nani's performance and the commitment as an actor, and the makers leaving no stone unturned from a production standpoint. What I wished, however, was a little more ruthlessness, a little more flair with the action choreography like the latter half of this film, but more importantly, someone intimidating and scary going up against such a strong hero like Arjun Sarkar, making this another case of me being satisfied but slightly bummed, for I see the potential of what Hit 3 could have truly been. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Hit 3. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.